That look gravy. Okay. Let's watch some of the wild whites in the dirty, dirty South. Brother. So if you're brown, you might, just relax.
It was a night 3 weeks before Christmas in 2010 when Joseph Brandon Creel switched his phone on silent so he could enjoy a romantic evening with his girlfriend. Creel was an oil worker and former college football player,
Good one.
but he was also the
a great investment
for a prison gang, but living in the free world. So moments of peace and quiet like this were rare. His dinner date went as planned, but when Creel walked into his girlfriend's living room and happened to glance at his phone, he noticed that there were about 40 missed calls. Creel sighed, picked up the phone, and called back, only to be greeted with an urgent request. A situation got out of hand, a voice on the other end told him. Creel hurriedly put on his clothes and hopped on his motorcycle, making the trip out to a remote trailer in Petal, Mississippi, where he was greeted by 2 nervous men, followed by the smell of cleaning chemicals and death.
Okay.
Inside the trailer was a dead body wrapped in a rug. The other 2 had created this problem, and now Creel was being called in to deal with it. The victim's name was Michael Hudson, but he went by Skip, and the reason he was hogtied and deceased inside a
This nigga look like a GTA NPC.
floor cloth was all because of the Aryan Brotherhood of Mississippi, a prison and street gang that Skip and his killers were all a part of. Just a few weeks earlier, Skip had been totally cool with all of the men who now faced the unpleasant task of making sure his body
Them niggas can't box for real.
found. His death was the result of an escalating situation rooted in gang politics and the meth trade. As the 3 men got to work, none of them could have known
Chainsaws
that just
and
a couple
meth?
hours earlier in the evening,
Deadly combination. Chainsaws, meth, white. Oh yeah. This ain't even a gang. This is like a group of fucking serial killers in the making. You know what I'm saying? This ain't a fucking gang. This is... Yeah, nigga, don't let all these niggas group together. These are all maniacs.
they'd been in the company
Chainsaws
of
and
an
meth?
FBI informant
What?
who had witnessed key
Oh, no.
events in the kidnapping, beating, and eventual murder of Michael Skip Hudson. The informant had even typed out a text message
Damn,
to
Skip.
alert the feds, which would have prevented the whole thing and
Why'd they
saved
do that to
Skip's
Skip?
life. But he didn't hit send. For in that moment, the fear of this notorious Southern white prison gang was greater than the fear of a federal prison cell. The Aryan Brotherhood of Mississippi was formed in 1984, roughly 2 decades after the foundation of the original Aryan Brotherhood in California.
Well, damn.
As such, the ABM modeled itself after the pre-existing gangs of the same name in California
Nah,
and Texas.
that ain't my
but took
style.
on its
I'm
own
racist,
values
not a
and
killer.
symbolism. For instance, the ABM adopted a paramilitary structure.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I
Captains,
mean,
lieutenants, sergeant at arms,
I ain't a killer,
soldiers,
but don't
and
push
prospects, as well as a
me.
governing body
Look at
known
that.
as the
Nah, I
League,
ain't a killer, you
which
right.
consisted of 3
We just
generals known as
racist.
spokes.
These niggas a little
The
different.
spokes were generally incarcerated, but not always,
They look different.
as Joseph Brandon Creel was serving as an out-of-custody spoke in December 2010, when these aforementioned events took place.
I spoke?
The ABM was
That sounds
founded in the
racist.
Mississippi Department of Corrections, which for years has maintained one of the most violent, corrupt, and underfunded state prison systems that attracts the ire of the Department of Justice during both Republican and Democratic administrations. Over
Yo,
the
that nigga the
years,
fuck
the
up.
ABM's presence expanded from prisons across the entire state of Mississippi, as the gang became the premier choice for white inmates and as some of its members were paroled. After gaining a presence throughout the Mississippi free world, the ABM divided
That's a crazy
geographically
picture, I ain't
by
gonna
northern,
lie.
Central,
I like
and southern
crazy
Mississippi,
cool, like, bro.
with each of the 3 spokes in the wheel.
Let me see any of my white friends. I'm not even gonna hold you. Let me see any of my, like, well, nah, that ass. Let me see any of my friends, like, well, no. Niggas pose with guns all the time. But that shit just look weird. I ain't gonna lie. It just really look weird because they look racist. They look extra racist. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's rubbing me the wrong. I'm gonna say it's not so much the weapons. It's just they look racist with the weapons. It look like their weapons are going to be used with racist intent, if that makes sense.
Taking responsibility for
It's like my ancestors are telling me, no,
regardless
this is
of
bad.
whether a spoke controls
Like,
the north, central,
you know,
or south. An order
I just
from
don't.
him
What the fuck?
is to be obeyed by any ABM member without question. The
Let me
Aryan
rock this
Brotherhood
shit.
of Mississippi embraces many slogans, colors, and symbols. They display the number 13, signifying the letter M for Mississippi. Their main patch has changed 4 times, but generally includes an amalgamation of the letters A and B in a way that could easily confuse people who are unfamiliar with it. Like many Aryan Brotherhood gangs, this symbol is known as a brand when tattooed.
Y'all
Within
like
the
dirty
ABM
white men.
is something of an elite squad, known as
Steve-O?
the Thunder Warriors, who
that
signify their
Steve-O?
status by receiving a brand of lightning bolts, typically on a Thunder Warrior's neck. ABM members become Thunder Warriors by committing multiple acts of violence that have been confirmed by witnesses. Although, as we'll explore, having multiple witnesses to
That's
their violent
stupid.
crimes hasn't always worked out too well.
That's fucking dumb as fuck. Oh, you can get your lightning bolts, but you gotta do a crime. Like you gotta go catch a body, and there gotta be somebody to see you to catch the body. What if the nigga that see me fuck around a snitch or something, you know? Or what do you mean by there has to be a witness? I thought the whole thing of being in a gang or to do shit was to leave no witnesses. Huh? Chloe, ain't that how the mob work? You know what I'm saying? When y'all niggas do dirt, or when your father and them do work or whatever, or your peoples and them, you know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all, clean y'all tracks, right? Or do y'all have to... Yes, sir, bro. All right, my fault.
The ABM likes blue, gold and silver, black, and blue and red combined.
I'm surprised they like black. They like black? They don't like niggas.
Each color scheme representing something different.
You know I
Blue
gotta
and
fuck
red
with you.
are the gang's battle colors. Blue alone represents the blue blood upper echelon of the ABM. Gold and silver tie back to their belief in a strong Aryan nation, and black represents their uniform colors. They've taken on slogans like, "Where Aryan boots thread, there will be respect."
I know I look
bloodshed,
full white, but thankfully
as well
I
as
don't look like
from
that.
man to man,
Thankfully for my
from brother
Mexican
to brother,
side.
together in battle for a cause.
Damn right, brother.
They also use as a
You
slogan
don't scream
the name of an
Aryan at
Irish
all.
nationalist political party, Sinn Féin.
You
Translated
scream, I
roughly
can
as, "We
get
ourselves
fucked up around him, but I can't go to sleep around him.
The ABM
because
also has a 5-step
you might
secret
draw
process
some
for
shit on
its
my
members
forehead,
to learn
or you
and
might
perform on
you
one
might
another.
do like white
They
people
sometimes refer
pranks.
to themselves as
like-
the family,
like
and
try to
members
put
on
your
the
cheeks on
outside
my
meet
face
up
or
once
something.
weekly for meetings known as the church.
But nah, I don't get racist.
Incarcerated
Well,
ABM
I get
spokes
racist from you,
generally
but
use
I don't
cell
get
phones
like
smuggled
I
from
don't
the
get
prison
this
to
from
meet.
you at all.
And did so with enough ease that it never seemed to be a problem. If you would have liked to have joined
Games
the
like
ABM,
the first
you must have
rule of
proved
fist
yourself
fight.
worthy
You know what I'm
through more
saying?
than
Like,
just
huh?
violence. Prospects are
Chloe gonna
quizzed
be the
with
one to pull up on
questions
you
like,
and
do you believe in death before dishonor? Could you use terrorist
Chloe
tactics to
gonna
teach
walk me
someone
down
else?
with a Kool-Aid smile?
Do you believe that a government
Chloe?
run by the minority would be better or worse than the present
He
world?
said, I don't know about
If,
her,
after you were released, you were ordered to terminate another
but I
person,
don't play
could
about
you
my
do so
daddy.
without any explanation
W Daddy's
or
girl.
hesitation? There is also a general belief within
Oh, yeah,
the
don't walk me
ABM
down with a
that
Kool-Aid
racial
smile. I'm broke.
separatism or being pro-segregation
I ain't got health
is
insurance.
different from racism. Though they are well aware that most people do not distinguish between the two, nor do they care.
And it's
to
open
dignify
enrollment.
such a
Don't
distinction.
do it. I ain't got
A
health
prospect
insurance.
begins his journey by reading a letter asking them to pledge their life and maybe die for the cause of which they represent. It's too long to recite the entire thing. But
They
here's a
dead
small
ass do look
taste.
like manhunt
Dear
characters.
prospect, you stand forewarned of an increasing.
That's what I'm saying. They
risk
look
to you.
like GTA
Should you not be
NPCs or
selected
manhunt
to be
characters.
promoted to brother status, you shall remain under an oath of secrecy upon penalty of death if you ever reveal any of your knowledge to anyone. If acceptance is not given to you, don't lose heart. Keep faith in white supremacy in the future of the Aryan cause. The Aryan cause goes deeper than you can imagine or what you shall learn in the short time given. We must be sure that those chosen will all follow Aryan heritage and have a pure and sincere heart. For members who disobey orders or gang rules, there are various forms of discipline. These can include minutes, meaning 2 minutes of fighting with 2 other.
What if I'm not? What if I'm actually not in a mob and instead I'm actually the daughter of a man who is the leader of a husk of a secret society? A husk of a secret society? It just sounds, yeah, that sounds like some shit I'm watching right now.
Their ABM members, or the Thunderdome, where a whole
Welcome
pile
to
of
the
members can
Thunderdome,
dogpile
bitch.
and assault you. There's also the Smash.
I've heard that.
which
I've heard
can
that
range from
before.
a brutal assault to actually burning or carving off a member's tattoo.
Welcome
Or
to the
a kill on
Thunderdome.
sight, which seems pretty self-explanatory. They also have a
Oh,
designated
God,
treasure to keep track of the gang's coffers.
Which
Most
this
of these
is
are
for
funded by the sale of
yep,
crystal
that
meth.
ass. This is for
While there's
documentary
evidence the ABM
and educational purposes. You know, we're just learning about Mississippi culture, and you know, we like to be well versed. You know, just in case somebody travels there and just so happens to, see something. Now you're already ready, so you ain't got to get ready. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is power.
has connections in California. And
Not
other
in the
states.
Illuminati.
Much of their
by the way.
methamphetamine was
Say less.
self-produced, thanks to relatively
My
lax
third eye open.
laws in adjacent states that allowed for the bulk purchases of
Know what I'm
precursors.
saying? I respect you and your father and your
Most
family.
of these drugs were sold
And all the
within
henchmen.
Mississippi, which has consistently been one of the poorest states in America. It should also be noted that during the early 2010s, the ABM was attempting
It
to
make you feel
parlay
dirty
the
for being half
California
white is
Aryan
crazy.
Brotherhood to arrange some type of unification, which would have required the ABM to adopt a new constitution.
I feel
and
dirty
symbols,
for being half white just by
though it
watching
doesn't
this.
appear to have gone through. All of that brings us to
If
the
this
murder
makes y'all
of
feel any
Michael
better, I
Skip
feel
Hudson.
my
In the
allergies
early
are messing up. My
2010s,
nose is getting
Aryan
itchy
Brotherhood
and
of
shit.
Mississippi members Eric Parker and Joseph Brandon Creel were making a nice living selling meth, including to other
Selling meth.
ABM members like Hudson. But in late 2010, Parker was still getting flack from some for giving out bad product. When one ABM member named Walter T-Bone Burris
Them
complained,
niggas love
Parker
meth.
replaced it with the high-quality stuff and made things right. It was around the same time that Parker fronted Hudson $600 worth of methamphetamine to sell, then waited and waited and waited for Hudson to pay him back. The money never came.
It's been a busy night at the
Parker
hospital.
complained about the situation to Creel.
I know it
who saw
smells
himself
crazy
as a
in
father
there.
figure
Them
to
niggas do
Parker,
not bathe on the
but also
regular.
didn't really want to bring the ABM into
Damn.
what seemed to
This is
him
for like
more
a lot of
personal
accidents,
problem than
drunk
a gang
niggas.
business. Still, Creel ordered Hudson to endure
Or just
a
like
minute's
busy in
punishment
general.
for failure to repay the debt.
Knowledge is
And the
power.
minutes was supposed to take place at an upcoming church meeting.
These people just believe power is
Instead,
white.
Hudson
That
failed to
power
show
is
up
white
and
power.
take his beating,
No bullshit.
drastically raising the level of what was otherwise a fairly standard and innocuous situation. Now, Hudson had
Yeah,
disobeyed
MMA's a
direct
whole
order
brain
when he
surgeon.
spoke, and had done so in a way that kind of made him appear.
He even can
like a
make me
coward.
smarter.
On the other hand, it was Hudson's contention that Parker had given him dirty dope that he couldn't use or sell,
Dirty dope.
and was now basically trying to extort $600 from him. Still, ABM rules are taken seriously, and by failing to show up for the
Not
fight,
dirty dope.
Hudson lost what hope he had to get folks to take his side. That's where a man named Frankie Owens enters the story. Like Parker, he was an ABM captain in the free world, and he was too involved in the meth trade. In fact, Parker and Owens had recently been busted in Arkansas, where they freely admitted to police that they were going to buy precursor chemicals for a meth lab. Owens was angered and offended by Hudson's actions. He was also a thunder warrior with a proven propensity for violence, and told everyone who would listen that he intended to gift wrap Hudson and bring him to Parker. Then he did exactly
Yes, at the
that.
start.
Hudson still had a few ABM members whom he trusted, and one of them, James Dean, had recently warned Hudson when they had bumped into
Dirty
each other
dope
at a
lace.
Walgreens that others wanted to
Nah,
target.
that's not, nah.
So when Dean
I don't
asked Hudson
smuggle.
to come help
I
him
mean, I
pick
don't
up some
dish out
meth
dirty
at
dope.
ABM member Walter Eves' home in Gaudier, Mississippi, Hudson felt safe enough
That's
to
kind of
do
cool
so.
though.
It was
Dirty
a
dope.
costly mistake. As Hudson was coming over, Owens was
man,
cutting
that
wiring
nurses
down to
have
5
access
feet
to
so they'd have a good length to hog tie Hudson and take him to Parker.
Lo, you want some
When
ears?
Hudson walked in, ABM members Eves, Owens, Burris, Mitchell Valentine, and ABM
You want some
prospect
Yerkes?
Sonny Mitchell took turns beating him, while others stood there watching. Then they wired him up and threw him into the trunk of a car.
You need some Xanax?
Owens cursed out Hudson as they drove to Parker's trailer. When they got there, they let Hudson take a couple drags of a cigarette
You need some
and brought him
Yaddies?
inside. Everyone
Some
except
Yadderall?
Owens, Parker, and Hudson left. Only Owens and Parker know exactly what happened next. One story that surfaced was that Parker choked Hudson. Another was
You
that
like
Owens was
drugs?
responsible, but made Parker take part so they'd share liability. Either way, the
Got some
end result
Benadryl?
was Creel receiving the frantic call for help and
Need
making
Benadryl?
that fateful motorcycle ride over to the trailer of death. No one knew it then, but James Dean, the man who'd lured Hudson to his kidnapping and death, had been working for the FBI for years. And as he sat on the sidelines watching the violence, he would later claim that he had a text message ready to go, alerting an FBI agent of the matter. Had Dean sent this, or had he bothered to warn the FBI in advance rather than assisting in the kidnapping, Hudson would likely have escaped his grisly end. Dean would later claim he was too scared to act. After Creel arrived at Parker's trailer, they stuffed Hudson's body in a drum, drove it to Creel's home, dug a giant fire pit.
I want a
filled it
new
with
job.
tires and wood,
I'm not qualified,
and then
huh?
Creel poured out a huge jug of gasoline before running off
I don't
the
have
gasoline
papers or
fumes
credentials.
and lighting it up. When asked how he did this without setting himself on fire, he'd later explain, "I'm from the country." The fire
I'm from
burned
the
for
country.
4 to 5 days. After
So I
which,
actually do
Creel
need some
scooped up the
Benadryl.
remains and dumped them in a nearby river.
I ain't gonna hold you, yeah.
No
I'm
trace
good
of
right
Hudson
now. My
was
nose
ever
is
found.
just like on fire for a second.
Owens would go on to be promoted from
yeah.
captain to spoke.
My allergies been acting up.
But the ABM had left enough eyewitnesses that leaks were bound to start. And it didn't help that Owens announced that Hudson was never coming back, and no one should ever discuss him again during the subsequent church.
Are you good at stealing shit?
A few of the members went into hiding, but they generally continued on with their lives until the feds brought forth a wiretap that exposed the ABM's massive statewide
kind of
meth
shit?
business and brought in 17 defendants, including members, leaders, prospects, and so-called featherwoods, meaning women
Rob
whose
that
job
nigga,
it was
yeah,
to
rob
smuggle
that nigga.
contraband into prison, launder money, and transport drugs.
Wanna do a bank
At this
heist?
point, many within the ABM were willing to tattle on Parker and Owens in exchange for a better deal. These included not just guys like Burris, Valentine, Maxwell, and Dean, but also Creel
One bank.
and another former spoke named Perry Mask. At the trial, Creel said he felt guilty turning on men he had love for, but also said he blamed Parker for getting him into another fine mess by calling him over to the trailer in the first place. "It's cost me my life, 25 years.
It's a local
It
one.
would have been anybody but Eric Parker.
What's
They'd
the
have
take?
been on their own." The trial revealed that by the time the group was indicted, Owens was reportedly
Because I know it's
plotting
going to
to
get
kill Eric
split
Parker next,
in like more
telling
than,
others he
and
feared
probably
Parker didn't
4
have the
ways.
stomach for
So
cold-blooded
what's the
murder, and
what's
would
the
start
whole
telling
take?
on the group next. Parker's girlfriend seemed to bolster this idea, testifying that he
This is
would wake
all
up
in
screaming
GTA,
cold
Twitch.
sweats and
Talking about
confessed
GTA
that
bank
he killed
heist.
someone and was still haunted by it. Defense attorneys argued simply that Hudson wasn't dead, and pointed out that Creel admitted that he hadn't actually looked inside the rug to make sure it was actually Hudson in there. This argument, while interesting, was unpersuasive. And soon after the trial's end, the Department of Justice was touting yet another guilty verdict in a RICO case centered on betrayal within a gang. In addition to the murder, Owens was convicted of arranging the stabbing of a former ABM member for threatening to sexually abuse a woman and her young daughter. An ABM member named Scissorhands committed the stabbing.
It depends
after a prison
on.
church Sunday service.
It depends on if
We'll
it
close the
make me
story on
move or
this
not.
note. Time
I
and
ain't
time
just
again,
gonna move for a
during
couple of
Owens and
dollars.
Parker's trial, jurors would watch a former Aryan Brotherhood of Mississippi
talk to
member
me.
walk in, sit on the witness
Pretty
stand,
sure.
and give a brief autobiography
It's one of
describing
these.
their hopes and dreams for the future,
Mm.
as well as their criminal histories. Then the prosecutor would ask each one what had been the
This is shit,
downfall
count
of their
me in.
lives.
Breezy with the shit.
None of them said
I'ma
gang
laugh at Chloe.
or their rough
It's dead
upbringing,
ass too.
or even doing a hard time in prison.
She might be dead ass.
Instead,
I ain't gonna hold
they
you.
all had the same answer.
She said 200 to
It was
300K.
crystal meth.
once he reached the pinnacle of fame.
Oh, W crystal meth. Yeah. I mean, I said W crystal meth. W video. Yeah. How many people you got? How many people you got in on this? Cause I mean that might be something that that might be kind of cool. I ain't gonna hold you. That might be kind of cool. All right, give me 1 second. I'm about to make a little snackington, bro. I'm not hiring Dan to do a bank heist. What? I got you. Why wouldn't you hire me? Why are you gonna tell me something I can't? Why are you gonna show me something I can't have? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna sit there and offer me an opportunity I can't even have, man. Certified seller? Certified seller? Dan will show up high. I'm always high. That's how I'm normal. What do you mean? You act like this is... I'll be right back. Make me a little munchies. That's crazy. Certified seller? I'm pinning that too, though. What? I lock in. What you mean? I be locked in. Where my thing? Where is that? Yeah, I be locked in. What you mean? I feel like you fuck up in the goofiest way possible. Yo, no, just give me a task and be like, hey, I need you to do this, do that, boom. Or just give me like an A to B plan, and I got you. I'ma lock in. But just don't have me like split my mind to do multiple things. But I got you. I'm trustworthy. I got you. Just let me know what I gotta lock in on.